Well, good morning, everybody. If you're just coming in, you can find a seat. This is not where we normally gather for a middle school parent coffee. This was actually my last choice for places to have a middle school parent coffee because you are clearly lacking coffee. And it is Monday morning at 10 o'clock. Who did that? So the good news is, when you're done, there will be coffee out there, and you can chat, and you can linger, and we'll stick around and answer any questions you have. But unfortunately, we had 211 people RSVP. Looks like, I'm going to guess, about 140 in here. We had 330 eighth graders and their teachers at the beginning of the day, so it's a smaller, slightly less puberty-fueled audience than that was. But really glad to have you here today. My name is Chris Beingessner. I have the honor and privilege of serving as the middle school principal here at SAS. Now, just so that we can get a sense of who's in the room, I know I see some fifth grade parents who are about to embark on this journey. So if you're a fifth grade parent, do you want to, actually, can we get the house lights up a little bit? It'll feel a little less presentational. Did they come up? Not really. Okay, fifth grade parents, put your hands up. Oh, there we go, perfect. Okay, we got about half, fifth grade, lovely. Sixth grade parents, so this is the first time you're having to look at where your child's math pathway might be. Great, seventh grade, lovely. And we did invite new eighth grade parents and some other eighth grade parents. If you're an eighth grade parent, got a few, perfect. Thank you for being here. It is all helpful. We have an amazing team in the middle school here, and I do my best to stay out of their way, and so I will not talk too much longer, but I do want to introduce Beth Terry. Who here has had an email from Beth Terry? Many of you. She is wonderful. Beth, you got to give a little wave at least. So Beth will be helping us today. Beth's currently a grade 6 math teacher. She's our department chair, and she helps roughly 40 families every year figure out how to navigate and enter our math system. We have Dr. Jason Windust over here, also teaching grade 6 math currently, and he's one of our PLC coaches, as is Beth. He actually did his doctoral research on the impact of our math program. And so some of the work you're going to learn about today, some of the changes we've made over time, actually were informed by his doctoral research through USC. And then Melissa Trainer. Miss Trainer, my daughter, very proudly tells me regularly the best math teacher she ever had. And Melissa is this year doing some computer science coaching and teaching, and she's coming back to math full-time next year. We're very excited, and so she will be coaching math as well, and they are wonderful. And they will be doing most of the talking today, which will also be wonderful. Oh, I'm going to go back one slide, can I? No, I can't. That's okay. There is one person here who is here just like you, learning and watching, and I'm going to get her to stand up even though she doesn't want to. This is Ruth Heron, who's joining us next year as a middle school deputy principal. You know Dr. Fine is moving up to the high school. We are reluctantly letting him go be the high school principal, and so we're excited to have Ruth here. This is actually the second time she's been on campus. She was here for a week at the beginning of February, and she's here for a couple days, and here to learn just like you about our math program. So let's give all those people a round of applause. All right. Now, what are we going to do together? Well, we're going to review our middle school math program. We're going to help you make sense of an email you're going to get, which is going to include a math readiness report. So it will give you some data and some feedback on how your child is doing. And we know that even as a fifth grade parent, sometimes you carry a little bit of wonder and a little bit of worry about like, okay, yeah, cool, sixth grade, but I want to see the big picture. So we're going to walk you through the big picture as well. And we're going to end with the part that is actually the most important. And that is, what do you do with your child at home? we know that middle school is a lovely, challenging time. And we know that your kids, who may be in 5th grade, maybe in 4th grade, they were lovely, they were compliant, sort of. They did the things you wanted them to do, sort of. And then we know in middle school, sometimes a really innocuous suggestion doesn't land well. And so what we want to do is give you some tips to be able to talk through this with your child in a way that does not result in either of you yelling. That is the goal. So, with all of that, 2 prompts, and this is why we hate this space, not just because you can't have coffee, but normally you'd be sitting at tables, and then you could talk to people around you and get to know each other and build a bit of community. But we are going to start. You're going to have to find someone near you and pick one of these 2 prompts to respond to after, of course, you introduce yourself. So the first one is reflecting on this year at school so far. What is one thing you'd like to celebrate about your child? And then the second one is thinking ahead to next year. What are you most excited about for your child? So I think if I had to answer this as a parent, I would say I am most excited for my son to move to high school, for him to be in a division where his dad's not the principal. Because I think he might start talking to me again. That's what I'm excited about for next year. But you probably have a different answer. So turn and talk. We'll give you a couple minutes to connect and reflect.
All right, thank you. I hope you were able to spend a minute either reminiscing on the past year of your mathematician or looking forward to the upcoming year. But either way, I hope you had time to connect with someone near you. As Chris has shared with you, I want to reiterate, this is not our comfort zone. Being up on stage in the center, I feel like I need to sing a song or something, and that is not going to happen. We do love mingling in room 301 and kind of walking through the tables and getting to know each of you and saying hello to the people that we haven't seen for quite a while. So this is different. We will be around after for some time before we head off to class to be able to chat with you, though. So thank you, Chris, for those introductions. I'm going to start with our middle school math program. Some of you may be very new to this. Some of you may be so veteran that you could chime in and fill in the blanks or add some details. But in Singapore American School Middle School, actually in all kindergarten through Algebra 2, we are using illustrative mathematics. So this course, what I love about, or this program, what I love about these images is it really shows that the students are the center, that teachers are orchestrating conversations, teachers and students are working in groups, teachers are often walking around kind of just listening in so that they can share ideas, highlight strategies. but students are talking to each other. Also, most importantly, the teacher helps students synthesize their learning. Misconceptions may come out, mistakes may happen, but a teacher is there to guide and facilitate that conversation. Another image that we use to show, I kind of always talk about the far hexagon in the white and the far right hexagon with white as well. With all of these things, illustrative mathematics, the foundation is that teachers are curious about and trust student thinking to drive learning, as well as assuring students know, use, and enjoy mathematics. One of the extreme joys of my own classroom is to see the light bulbs, to see a student celebrate a mistake. Yes, it happens. Or for them to be able to talk to each other and say, I actually disagree with that, but let me tell you why. Those are the things that happen in our classrooms in middle school with our illustrative mathematics curriculum. All right. This team, oh gosh, it's hard for me to not get emotional when I look at this photo because we have a lot of fun. We work really hard. And just like our amazing illustrative mathematics adopted curriculum, we have a math department with some math specialists. All of these here are math specialists, teachers who are able to engage, able to differentiate, share their passion, help students find joy, and build confidence. It is so lovely for us to be able to focus on just mathematics and work with students on that content specifically to really get to know them and foster their growth through their journey in middle school. So if you see one of these in the hallway or you have one of them, give them a hug, tell them thank you. They're working really hard. Another part of our program, and last but not least, we have math clubs and competitions. The two after-school math clubs are Math Olympiad, and that's for any student at all. It's season 1 and season 2. I'm one of the co-sponsors for that. We have a lot of fun and we just solve problems and complete 5 contests for Math Olympiad. Math Counts is a club where the students test into. They take an assessment, they're invited, they're doing really well this year, so that's another opportunity. Ms. Trainer will also talk later about Math Hour, in case you haven't been made aware of the opportunities for students there as well. And our competitions, the only competitions that are hosted by SAS Middle School are AMC 8 and AMC 10. So that's what we are hosting thus far at Singapore American School. All right, and with that, I'm gonna turn it over to Dr. J to share a bit more about our program.
Thank you, Beth. I don't know what she's talking. I like being on stage. I feel special. So I am here to talk to, my name's Jason Windest, and I'm here to talk to you about the math courses that we offer in middle school and the choices that some of you will be making. So I'm going to kind of be pitching this to grade 5 is a little bit like the students that are currently in grade 5, moving up to grade 6. It's a little bit different than our grade 6 and 7 and 8 students that are moving up. So the message will be a little bit different about those two groups. I'm going to start with those people that have got a grade 5 student right now that are entering middle school. And this might even be a little different than if you have an older child that has gone through our middle school, depending on when they did this. It might have changed a little bit since your last child went through this. But in grade 6, we offer one math class. It is an accelerated class that all students enter into. And so we do this for a few different reasons. And if we go back a few years, this used not to be the case. It used to be we'd have 2 classes, a standard grade 6 level course and an accelerated course. And we've had a shift to an informed family choice model where we let families choose. And when we did that, we saw upwards, more than 90% of our families were choosing accelerated Math 6 for their students. And after looking at that, and particularly after looking at the academic gains we were seeing in grade 6 with families that chose to go into the accelerated class, it made it a pretty easy decision for us to just offer the accelerated math course in grade 6. So the rationale for doing this, the big part of it was like just seeing how much academic improvement we were seeing from all of our students, our highest achieving students, and also the students that were coming in maybe a little bit less sure of themselves in mathematics. Pretty much across the board, we were seeing a lot more academic growth. And so we made the shift that we would just offer accelerated math to all grade 6 students. We wanted to make sure that basically in middle school, all the students are starting at the same place. When we went through this process years ago, we talked to our students, and a lot of them were like, it didn't feel great coming into middle school and immediately you started separating us into accelerated and standard level. So we want all students just to start in the same place in middle school and have at least a year working with a math specialist that can just focus on their math. And our elementary teachers are amazing. I can't imagine doing that job. But they have a challenge where they're teaching all of the different subjects. And as math teachers in grade 6, we can just focus on just math with your children and have a really good idea, I think, of by the end of the year, their strengths and their areas for growth. And then lastly, we really do believe that all students can achieve at high levels, and we want to give all students a chance to do that. So parents of grade 5 students, this is pretty easy for you. You don't really have a choice. You're just going to, your kid's going to take accelerated math, and it's going to be amazing. And so that's grade 6. Now, if you have a child that is moving into grade 7 or 8, or we had a few grade 8 parents too, so they might even be if they're heading into grade 9. Now we have a choice, okay? So in grade 7 and 8, we offer 2 different classes at SAS. We have a standard level Math 7 class, and we have an accelerated math class. So the natural progression is for students that are in accelerated Math 6 would be to move into accelerated Math 7. Now, we have found that not all students and families want to do that. So we do offer the standard grade 7 and also the standard grade 8 level math classes. I want to really emphasize, and we do this with our students too, that these are not like low level courses. They're not remedial courses. Our Math 7 and our Math 8 are exactly what they're labeled. They're designed to be taught at grade level. Okay, so Math 7 follows the Common Core standards in the US for grade 7 students. And so all of our students, regardless of what class they are choosing, are at a grade level or above course. Okay? If they are choosing the accelerated class, then, for example, right now in grade 6, we are teaching the grade 6 Common Core standards, but we're also teaching some grade 7 standards along with that. So it's the same content, but because we're teaching more of it, we go at an accelerated pace, hence the name Accelerated Math. So ultimately, the class that each of your children are going to be going into, you and them are going to be choosing what course is best for them. Okay? And the important part of this is the informed part, because we aren't going to just let you leave you with no information. We are going to provide some information to help you make that decision, and obviously we are available to talk and ask questions, and your children's teacher are probably the best person to talk to about this if you are unsure. But I'm just going to talk about a couple of things in terms of a math readiness report that you're going to be getting soon, and some other things that might help you decide which class is going to be best for your child next year. After me, Melissa's going to come up here, and she's going to talk about what happens when you leave middle school, because one of the things about the classes that you're choosing now do have some implications down the road in terms of what high school classes might be available. And so we'll get into that kind of after I finish about your immediate decision in terms of what classes is going to be best. So first off is the math readiness report. If you have a middle school student right now, you're going to be getting this, I think, in a week or so. And if you are elementary, it's going to come a little bit later than that. So this is one piece of information that we give you to help you make that decision. Okay, so if you are a grade 5, if you have a grade 5 student right now, you're going to get a report that looks like this. Okay, we don't do an assessment at the end of grade 5 because all students are going to be going into the accelerated class, but we have the students reflect a little bit, give them a survey, and so you're going to see their responses on this report in terms of how they think they're doing in math this year, with their own feelings about it, and just some information about them as a learner. Also on this report is going to be a bunch of links to like resources and things that students could be doing to help them prepare for Accelerated Math 6. This isn't a checklist like, oh, we need to go home and do all of this before grade 6. These are some information if you or your child feels like they need a little bit more practice on some of these things. We want to make sure that we provide resources that are aligned to what we're actually doing here. So that's what the grade 5 report is going to look like. Grades 6 and 7 and 8 look a little different because we do a assessment. We've already done it in our classes. That is kind of a cumulative test of the things that we've done during the year. This is not something you're going to see in a Power School grade. It's purely for this report, and it's meant to be a one data point to help you make an informed decision about what class might be best. It's not a test where you've got to be like get a certain score to go into a certain class. It's not that at all. It's just to give you a little bit of information. So when you get this, and we like to put this up there because sometimes when you get a report that looks all official with the school's like title and stuff on it, people maybe make it a little bigger deal than it actually is. Okay, so what this is, what you're going to see on this is first off some student reflections. When the students took this assessment, we also gave them a survey, and everything you'll see circled right there is what they're saying about math and how they feel about it. So that will be on there. Also, there will be, it'll be kind of broken down into their skills, okay, how they're feeling about their skills and also how they're feeling about their learning behaviors and what class they're thinking about taking, which might be a little different than what class you think they should take. But we want this to be able to spur on a conversation at home. And then also on this report, you're going to see a recommendation from their teacher, okay? And so what this is, it is a recommendation. It's not a, you should take this class or you should take that class. Ultimately, as we said, the decision's going to be up to you about what class is going to be best for them. And depending on what grade they're in, there might be some different kind of other comments that go along with that in terms of if they need additional preparation or significant. And again, this is meant just to help spur a conversation at home and also to maybe spur a conversation with your child's teacher, okay? Because I know as teachers, a lot of us, there's a lot of like, for us, stress and hand-wringing, even though we know it's only a recommendation because we do want to give the message like, hey, we believe in all of our students, and we do. But sometimes, for some students, going into an accelerated class might not be the best for their learning. Some students learn better at a little bit slower pace, and there's nothing wrong with that. And so we go back and forth a lot with our students about what we feel is going to be best for them. But at the end of the day, I mean, you know your kids better than we do. And you know the work they're putting at home, the stress or anxiety that may or may not be caused by math. And so that's why we want to put the ultimate decision in your hands, okay? With all the information that we can provide you and also that conversations that you'll be having with your teacher. So we will give our recommendation. And then on the back of this thing, you've got all of this, all of these different kind of topics. This is linked to their test that they took, the assessment. And so the assessment's 20 questions, multiple choice, and it just covers a variety of topics that we've covered throughout the school year. And so you'll see it'll say whether they've got the questions correct or incorrect, and there's links to online resources if they've gotten some of these things wrong. Again, this isn't a checklist like you need to go home, do all of this, and make sure it's done by the next school year. It's just meant to be another resource. Okay, so what this might look like for you is there'll be, actually let me go to the kind of a sample. This is a pretend student and what it might look like. And you'll see like up there in the upper right-hand corner what the suggested class was. This would be for a grade 6 student. And this teacher put Accelerated Math 7 with additional practice. So if the teacher put this, it might mean they're like, yeah, they probably should go to Accelerated Math 7, but maybe they want to practice a few things. What are they basing that on? I'm sure what they've seen throughout the school year, but also if we go onto the back of this, you'll see like if you look at the different questions, this student looks like they got maybe about half of them incorrect. And so that might be something, if you're seeing like with additional practice or significant practice, this would maybe be a good place to start in terms of, okay, what do they actually need to practice on? So for the questions they got incorrect, there's links to online resources, there's some Khan Academy, there's some other things in there that they could go to do to start kind of beefing up some of those skills. But again, this report is just meant to give you some information and start some dialogue at home and with your child's teacher. And so that'll be, like I said, this will be coming out for if you've got a middle schooler right now in about a week, and if you've got an elementary student, it'll be coming out a little bit later than that. Last thing before I turn it over to Melissa is conversations at home. Okay, one thing we hear from students a lot is like, well, it really doesn't matter what I want. My parents are going to make me take this or that or whatever. We really encourage you to have a good dialogue with your students at home, and some of or your children at home. For some of you, this will be very easy. Like they definitely know what they want to take. You definitely know what you want them to take, and it's the same thing. And your teacher is recommending that. Cool. So they're going to take that class. When there starts to be a little differing of opinion, whether it's the teacher or you or your kids, that's when we want to have these conversations about, well, what's really best, okay? What's really best for learning, what's best for our students' mindsets, what's best for their long-term goals. So when there starts to be some differing of opinions between these different groups, then that's when we want to have these conversations about what's really best. And so this is just a few suggestions about what you can do. And I think that's all for me. We'll go ahead and turn it over to Melissa, who has done a ton of work throughout this whole process, developing our math pathways. Right now, you have a really easy choice. Like, you either have no choice or you have 2 choices. She's about to blow your mind about when they get to high school, and those of you that have high schoolers already know what I'm talking about. Yeah, I'll just. Are you launching with the flow chart straight away?
Right away.
Great. Okay. Good luck.
Thank you. Hello. So thank you, and then I'm going to try to tackle this. We got a lot of feedback from elementary school families as well as middle school families that they really wanted to have a greater understanding of the 6 through 12 math pathways. And this was back when we did the review 4 years ago. So this is my attempt. I think if we just have the goal of just having a 50% understanding, then I think we'll all get there, okay? And then know that especially if you're a grade 5 parent, that you will have many, many opportunities to engage with these pathways, and also we will be out having coffee with you, and you can ask any questions if you want. Okay, let me see if I can get this part. Okay, all right, so it's a flow chart. And this is in the high school program planning guide. And many parents have told me they don't understand it. So I'm going to go to the next slide, and the next slide is my attempt to try to make it clearer. And some parents said, yeah, it's a little bit better. So I'm gonna go to the next one. But this is what's in the high school program planning guide. So if you Google that, Singapore American School, that you will see this in front of the math courses. It's a great document if you want to see all the amazing possibilities in high school. It's amazing how many courses we have. All right, so here we are, grade 6. I think there's a, ooh, look at that, okay. So grade 6, this is for the class of 2029 and beyond. So for our grade 5 families, your child is the class of 2032, right? Okay, so I am accelerated math 6. Everyone is experiencing that. And then we're going to go through one possible pathway. So after grade 6, a student has 2 choices, and if a student chooses to opt for the grade level Math 7 class, we have that as the grade 7 course. Then they might opt to go to Math 8 in grade 8. And then I'm just going to go through the whole pathway here. Okay, so you have IM Math 7, Illustrative Math, Math 8, and then in grade 9 they will take Integrated Math 1. And after that, the key takeaway here is if your child decides that they don't really want that accelerated pace and they want to just have the time to kind of dive deeper into the grade level concepts, they will still have the opportunity to take AP Calculus in grade 12. So 4 years ago, when Dr. Windes did his dissertation, we looked at all the different students from grade 6 to 12, and what we found was when students took the grade level Math 6 class, or actually the accelerated Math 6 class in grade 6, they were 10 times more likely to take AP Calculus by grade 12. So that's part of the reason why we wanted to give all students that opportunity to experience that accelerated pacing. But if they choose to do this, we created new pathways so that all students have the opportunity to take AP Calculus in grade 12 if they're ready for that, if that's the appropriate level of challenge. This is the more typical one, the one on the bottom. A lot of students from Accelerated Math 6, we have about 85% of our students, maybe a little more, yeah, 85, in Accelerated Math 7. And if they take the Accelerated Math course there, they will take Integrated Math 1 in grade 8, which is a combination of, for those of you who are familiar with American math education, the Algebra 1 and a sprinkling of geometry. And so now it's integrated. And then they have their options for Integrated Math 2. Let me just go through here. So again, 50% understanding of all these pathways, but the idea here, and I've attached it to grades, is that we have several acceleration points. So here, a student can choose to go there if they're ready. If they don't want to, they can go there. Once you're here in Math 7, a student at the end of grade 7 can make the choice to take the Accelerated Math 8 class. So that's our second acceleration point. Then if a student is in Math 8, if they do enrichment opportunities, they could opt for Integrated Math 2, but let's say that that's your third acceleration point. And then we have, if a student is in grade 9 and they want to accelerate at that point in time, then they can do so from grade 9 to grade 10. So really, there's an acceleration point at the end of every grade, should a student feel like they're ready maybe a little bit later in their high school years. And so the main takeaway is that pretty much most students will have the opportunity, if they want to, based on their career aspirations or post-secondary aspirations, they will be able to take more advanced courses later. Okay? I know that's a lot, so sorry, but there it is. So now to the next part, how to support your child. I think this is not just true for mathematics. I mean, this is true for pretty much all of your classes, but I've taught, this is my 21st year teaching math. I've taught grade 6 all the way to 12, the AP Calculus, AP Stat, and IB Math classes. And I think this is what seems to be the general pattern for students who enjoy math and experience joy in the math classroom and do quite well. So the first one that I think perhaps one of the most important ones is broaden the definition of math. This is something that is in a book for teachers, National Council of Teachers of Mathematics, in a book called Catalyzing Change, said that teachers need to do that. Not just math teachers, but all teachers within a school, school leaders, but then at the same time, also students and parents and caregivers. Actually last week, I spoke to my grade 6 students and I asked them, what's math to you? And they went around and I think out of, I don't know, 60 students, only one student said it was about problem solving. And I think part of that, well, the kid admitted later that it was because there was a book right in front of him called The Art of Problem Solving. So that was, but the rest of the students, they really said, oh, it's numbers, it's calculations, it's addition, it's subtraction. And that makes a lot of sense because kindergarten through grade 6 in our math progressions, that is really sometimes what is kind of unintentionally emphasized. But I think if we broaden the definition of math, one of my students in my AP Calc class, he said that math for him was structuring seemingly simple things to try to draw conclusions and predict the future. And I have another student who, you can Google it, wrote a book, Math Without Numbers. It's a fascinating exploration of mathematics, and that kind of is very similar to what one might do at university level math. But I think if you, in your conversations with your children, you know, if I don't know, if the red line, there's a delay, okay, what do we do now? Or there's a fire alarm or lightning alarm. Really exercising that ability to come up with multiple solution paths to any of life's problems. I think if we broaden that definition, students will maybe enjoy mathematics as that mental gymnastics, that exercising of the mind. All right, next one, nurture cognitive flexibility. So I think that kind of connects with broadening the definition of math. But there's two different types of mathematical flexibility. There is representational and procedural. I am going to say that 4 years ago, I did a how to support your child in math, and that was 60 minutes, so I am going to try to go quicker than that, because I only have, I think, 5 minutes. But the representational flexibility, I really think of math as the art of re-representation, and sometimes just going from an algebraic equation to a visual model can really elicit a lot of insight to how to attack the problem. And so really having students move fluently through all the different forms of representation is a big goal for grade 6 to 12 mathematics. The other one is procedural flexibility. So a lot of students at this age are really focused on answer getting. And I would just say forget the answer. If you look at external exams like the AP and the IB, if a problem is worth 4 points, I always tell my students that you can get 3 out of 4 marks without even getting the correct answer. But if you get the correct answer, you're not really aware of how you did that, you can only get 1 out of 4. So I think that really shows that even the external, like AP and IB, value process over answer. And I think that's because it's probably a more portable skill in the world. All right. Next one, for those of the Dr. Becky lovers out there, Dr. Becky, the parent whisperer, so has this video that's going around about the learning space. I think the more you can support your child in embracing frustration, I think the more resilient, it just pays dividends. So part of our job as math teachers in middle school is to try to normalize that feeling of frustration and normalize it to an extent that a student thinks of it as a sign of learning, of doing something that's hard, and that it's actually making your brain stronger. So, so resilience being a big part, and embracing that frustration and really supporting your child through that. All right, and the last one, and this is one, we had a math consultant come to work with our math teachers in the middle school math department. And the big feedback, she actually gave me feedback, and that really resonated with me. She said that you need to have a better poker face. And I looked at her and said, tell me more. And she said that when I'm teaching, I'm always smiling and saying, oh yeah, you know, and just being a little, you know, just smiling too much. And she says that once you do that, you end up kind of naming yourself as the evaluator, the authority of the knowledge in the classroom, of the math knowledge. And she said, let math be the authority. Let the student discover through their mathematical exploration and experiments what might be the right answer. So let them do the thinking. So she was telling that to us as teachers, and then also I'm a parent, so I was like, okay, gotta let my children do the thinking. But I think this is really resonated with me in our department. but partly because when we think about the World Economic Forum, always Future of Jobs report, these are the skill sets, that resilience, that comfort with frustration and confusion, that creative thinking, multiple pathways, all of this matter. And then doing the thinking is showing that active listening. Okay, tell me how you know that. Why do you think that is? I think these are really important skills. And number 8, lucky number 8, but curiosity, I think that's our big goal in middle school math, is to kind of keep that curiosity going. It is really easy to extinguish that joy and curiosity. And so if you can hold on to that and nurture that in your child for as long as possible, if a kid is motivated and curious, they can just really do anything. Anything. Okay. And then if all of that, you're like, okay, this is too much, you can send them to us. So we have math hour after school every day, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. The math teachers in our department, math specialists who know the curriculum really well, know what's on the assessment, know what's going on in your child's life. You can send them to, it's a drop-in from 3:15 to 4:15. We love working with your children after school. It's kind of a more relaxed environment. They can come in with their snacks and they can ask us for help or not. They just know that we're close by. Sometimes that gives them confidence. But it's a collaborative space, and we also give math enrichment opportunities if students feel that, I can do more. This is a little bit too, it's not just right. I can be challenged a little more. And we can do math enrichment. We can support them with any areas of mathematics, say from grade 4 or 5, that they want to have more practice with. Okay. And then I'm going to pass this on to our wonderful Miss Terry. There you go.
All right, I'm going to do this back in the center. They were such naturals out here walking around, talking about these slides. Oh my gosh, and I realized I was standing like right here. Oh goodness, okay. So, wow, Dr. Jason Windust and Melissa Trainer, it is a treat to work and learn alongside them. That is all I'm gonna say, but if you've had a conversation with them or your child has had them, you're lucky. You're lucky to have your child here, but these two people, they're a treasure. So they've shared a lot. Let's go back to what Melissa said, 50%. How are you guys feeling? Thumbs up. I got 50% understanding right here of all this that you just shared. And with students, we say off to the side if you're like, whoo, that was a lot. I can't wait to see the e-news video recording. And kind of a thumbs down of, okay, this is going to take some time to process. I'll call on the math teacher or one of us three, but we'll get this done. It truly is a partnership. We do ask that if you have any questions, start with your child. They often have all the answers. As you know, I have a senior this year, and she knows everything, you guys. Everything there is to know in the world, she knows. So ask them first. Ask your child's teacher, but do reach out to one of us. We're happy to answer questions. We want your child's math journey at Singapore American School to be the best it can be. When you're making that choice for the course selection, I always say to students and parents, the best choice is the choice that centers your social and emotional well-being and gives you the just right challenge as a mathematician. So make sure that you keep that in mind. A couple things about next steps. Dr. J started with 5th grade readiness reports. So I'm going to start backwards with 8th grade timeline. So the timeline for current grade 8 students and families, March 13th and 14th, that's this week, you are going to receive your math readiness report. You have also received communication about other things happening as your child transitions to high school, but this is what will be coming from us in the middle school. Their registration starts on March 14th and goes to April 9th. So that will be when their registration happens. The timeline for current grade 6 and grade 7 students, You can see up here, you'll get the readiness report, as Dr. J said, sometime next week. March 21st is when you'll have an electronic version of the program planning guide. I just confirmed these. March 21st through April 9th is when they can begin their course registration. And these are students who are currently in middle school, not going to high school, and not coming into middle school. And then last but certainly not least, we cannot wait to welcome our rising sixth graders. These are the dates that are important for you and your family. March 25th is the information night. We hope to see you all there. And then your registration for grade 6 courses is March 25th through April 9th. Again, for math courses, you won't have to change anything. You'll take Accelerated Math 6. They're automatically enrolled in that. And then by the end of May, you'll get the report that Dr. J showed. It is not required. It's just a review of some essential, what we call as teachers' power standards. So something that they could look at if you want them to do something like that over the summer. All right, one more reminder, the video for this and the slides will be shared with you in eNews. If you don't see them, or you can't log into eNews, forgot your password, just again, reach out to one of us or your child's teacher and we'll make sure you get those. Also, we have a mathematics website in the middle school. There's a handout at the top of the stairs out of this door on your way to get coffee, and there's a QR code for you to check out some other information if you're interested and see that really cool photo of the math department again. We would really appreciate the flow of our sessions every year is based on feedback from prior years and throughout the year. So if you wouldn't mind, before you run out and grab some delicious, I don't know what's out there, croissants maybe, and coffee, if you wouldn't mind using this QR code to give us some feedback about what is exciting to you, what surprised you, and if there are any lingering questions. But again, thank you so much for coming and spending time with us. We'll see you in the future, hopefully in 301 and not the drama theater. But if we need to move it, we'll do it. Have a great morning.